Tobore Ovuorie is an investigative journalist living in Nigeria. Her world was turned upside down when a close friend named Ifekwu disappeared without a trace. Tobore was shocked to discover that her friend had been the victim of trafficking and that it had cost her her life.
I'll be buying a copy of this paper just to go through this particular story.
Determined to find out what really happened, Tobore went in search of answers and risked it all by going undercover in sex trafficking circles.
I didn't really expect to see very young girls on the streets.
Posing as a sex worker, Tobore took on a whole new identity in her quest for the truth. Her 7-month investigation took a dark turn when she herself became trapped and held captive.
I slithered into depression. There was the trauma, anxiety, and panic attacks.
An ordeal that left her battered and broken, fearing for her own life. Journalist Tobore Ovuorie joins me now from Lagos, Nigeria. Tobore, thank you so much for joining us. I have to start with the beginning here. This story was brought to you by an editor. They wanted you to do a story on human trafficking. You chose to embed yourself. Why did you feel that the only way to get to the truth was to go that deep into the investigation?
First and foremost, when I was contacted, I was told to interview 7 women about to be trafficked. And the truth is, it's never written on the forehead that, hey, I'm about to be trafficked. To be able to get all sides of a story, I understood I needed to be a part of the story. Women or girls who get trafficked, before they are trafficked, they never know they are going to be trafficked. So to be able to understand the whole process, what goes on in the underworld, and that is the trafficking world, one cannot really get a holistic story being on the outside. I understood I had to be in the inside to be able to get what really goes on in here. So I had to be a part of the process.
When you say that you had to get on the inside, how did you imagine that taking place? Did you think I would be inside and maybe observe this? Or did it cross your mind that being inside would put you at risk of actually having to go through these acts that human traffickers have made women across the globe suffer through?
To be honest with you, we simply wanted to know the process, what really goes on in there. Are the girls, the women aware of what is waiting for them at the other end? I never expected I was going to be traveling with murderers. I never expected the deadly turnout of the investigation. No, I never expected it.
The investigation spanned 7 months. And again, going undercover, and I have here in the States as a reporter early on in my years, participated in stings of facilities that were trafficking women that were masked as massage parlors, for example. But I was walking in to the building under the protection of the police. I can't imagine having embedded myself in that situation, the fear and the risk associated with your bravery in this reporting. Going back to what you were subjected to, I mean, this is a daytime show, so I have to be very careful here. But going undercover, did it mean subjecting your body to the investigation?
At the beginning of the investigation, I got to mingle with sex workers. The beginning of the investigation was rather easy in quotes, getting to share the lives of other girls, other women who were into sex work. Where the ugly turnout began, to be honest, I never expected that. Having to strip, and when I say strip, I had nothing on in front of a group of persons, which included both male and females. I never expected that. I felt like an object in front of them. And I had to be quick in reasoning that if I refused taking off my clothes, that meant I wouldn't get out of that place alive. So I found myself doing things on a good day I wouldn't want to do. But at some point, I felt I have gone too far into this investigation to go back. So let me just see it to the end. And I must state, while I was having that at the back of my mind, I never expected I was going to end up with a group of murderers.
You had gone in to get to know the young women who were being trafficked. Along the way, you found yourself facing unimaginable circumstances that started with humiliation, and then it escalated to you being assaulted and attacked. Were the traffickers now on to you? What ignited that violence against you?
During the final, what I would call the final phase of the investigation, some visitors came and they were asking for a particular package, a male and a female that were selected. And it was as if we were watching a horror film. And right in front of us, it then dawned on all of us what the package was, right in our presence. Right in our presence, they were beheaded. So beyond the package, it dawned on me I was in deep trouble. It dawned on me I was in the midst of some murderers. And it dawned on me that finding my way out was the only option. Escape was the only option. As far as I was concerned, the investigation was ended.
Tobore, as I understand it, you were assaulted and beaten after the human traffickers were led to believe that you were not a hard worker, that you were not doing the things that they wanted you to do, and that you were somehow a troublemaker.
Well, the voodoo doctor checked the scars of different girls to be moved out because from experiences, there are some girls when trafficked, they don't make, as in they're useless, they are very useless to the traffickers. Clients don't get to sleep with them. And I don't really understand what the voodoo doctor meant by I will be very useless, that I will only cause trouble. I will bring her trouble. That my star is not in sync with sex work.
So you are there. I'm sure there were nights and days and minutes that you did not think you would get out of that situation with your life. How did you escape?
It so happened that a young man came to the night that was introduced himself that I went by the name of Gogo. So he then reminded me that we had met before back in Abuja at a party. And obviously he recognized me. I didn't recognize him. Then he refreshed my memory that he's the owner of the phone that got missing. And instead of I keeping his phone, I looked for the owner because I found the missing phone at the party, and I looked for the owner and handed the phone over to him. So he then told me he remembered me very well. And when he saw me at the camp, he was wondering what could have brought to Gogo here, that she's not, he doesn't see me as the kind of girl that should end up in that camp. It was then he gave me food because I was starving. And he told me that the next day we are going to be moved out of Nigeria. And when we get any location we get to, once he stops the vehicle that he wants to ease himself, he will ensure I sit by the door and I should seize the opportunity to run away. Because if by the time he returns into the vehicle I'm still there, then I'm on my own. Because what was going to await me, I'm going to be separated from the other girls. I'm not going to be taken to the other place other girls were being taken to. So once he got back to the vehicle and I'm still in the vehicle, then I'm on my way. I'm on my own. And indeed, he made a stop to ease himself. That was between the border that separates Nigeria and the Republic of Benin. That was the point at which he stopped the vehicle. We had already passed immigrations that he wanted to ease himself. So when he came down, it was at that point he had ensured when arranging us back at the car, he ensured I sat close to the door. So immediately that he highlighted that he wanted to ease himself, I took off out of the doors. I had to start running. I would say it was the race of my life.
When you look back at this, was it worth it? Was it worth it to go undercover?
I believe going undercover and doing the story is worth it. I have no regrets whatsoever. If you ask me, would I do the story all over again? I would say yes. However, this time around, I will be more careful. So I have no regrets whatsoever. At least some lives have been saved as a result of the story. So no regrets whatsoever. I feel very fulfilled.
What an incredible story. And thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
You're welcome.